Hello, hello. Hi, Kennedy. Hey, y'all. How y'all doing? So be with you. I need right now. Feel you. In life. When you cross my mind. I'm doing fine. So, as you guys can see, tonight I am going to do some free readings. Now, first things first, I don't know if you guys checked out my community tab, but this was a kind of like a token of my appreciation for my Patreon members, but also I think I'm trying to figure out how to navigate it because I do want to do something for my YouTube family too. But I already had some of my Patreon family members submit some questions to me, and I chose 3 individuals. Okay, so this is pre-selected. And I'm gonna go ahead and do their readings. And then I'm trying to see. I might, why not? Right? I love y'all. So this is what I want y'all to do, okay? For my YouTube family. I will do 1 free reading. So y'all hit up my email address, astrowerld, that's astro, WERLD @gmail.com. I'll go ahead and put it in the comment section. You guys hit me up. And basically what I want is, of course, your birth information, but I want a specific question that you need answered. And towards the end of the month, so we're talking about around Halloween, we'll do another one of these lives and I'll do a free reading for you guys. Okay. And I'll also be sure to put my Patreon information in the comment section as well. So just in case you guys are interested in signing up for that. Because this is a monthly thing that I think I'm going to do going forward. Right? Especially for my Patreon members. I haven't been on your live since I've been missing. Where you been, Winter? Where you been at? Be with you. Okay, so give me just a second and we'll get started. I'm putting it in the comment section right now, Kennedy. That's my email. Okay. Hey, the usually quiet Scorpio. I am about to do some free readings for my Patreon members. If y'all want to hang out and listen, and then after that, we can talk shit or talk about whatever y'all want to talk about. If y'all got some celebrities, natal charts you want me to check out, then, we can just kick the shit like that. Thank you, Quinn. Dana, Famous Nobody, all my babies are coming in. Oh, good. And make sure y'all hit that like button on your way in too. So let me go ahead and get started, just in case, for the replay. And I'm going to be giving these people different names just because, for privacy purposes. And I don't really think everybody they don't want their business associated with their name in these streets. And I completely understand that. All right. So we're going to start with the first individual, and I'm going to read the message or the question first. Okay. And then we'll go over their chart. So this first individual, we are going to call him BB. Okay. And BB writes me and he asks, question, I want to embark on a successful career as an artist. I'm a painter and a poet. I foresee myself developing my craft and going far in life with my talent. I have dreams of even transitioning into filmmaking with my talent for visual art and written prose. Come on, prose. I'm concerned if I will be financially stable embarking on this journey because of my Gemini moon in the second house. I also feel like I may not have the successful career I desire because my South Node is conjunct my midheaven, meaning I'm supposed to focus on fourth house matters in this lifetime, which I do, but a bitch still trying to be popping on the world stage as a dope creative. I guess I'm looking for guidance on how to achieve this desire for a great artistic career with financial stability while also honoring my Leo North Node, right? So, with that being said, BB, there are some observations that I made in regards to your chart. So, to answer one of your main questions, in terms of like, you know, is it possible for you to attain a public career? I think it is, and let me explain why. Okay, so first and foremost, with you having that Leo North Node in the 10th house, or excuse me, that Leo, let me go back and see. It's actually an Aquarius South Node. So if you're a Leo North Node, that means that would be in your 4th house. Your Aquarius South Node is on your 10th house. So basically, as is the case with many Leo North Nodes, a lot of you guys are placed here in this lifetime to honor your creativity. Okay. And I understand how it can kind of be like a little conundrum, given that your South Node is attached to that 10th house. And traditionally, the 10th house does deal with like, okay, your public standing, your career, and things like that. But in this lifetime, you are supposed to be someone who is serious about your honoring your passion and creative expression. But this could require you to learn how to differentiate yourself from other people, particularly maybe even within your family. These are people who have a karmic responsibility to stand out and shine and get recognition. However, the caveat is this: you are supposed to be doing something that aligns with your true nature, your true being, the things that fulfill you on an emotional level. So that 10th house South Node, especially as an Aquarius South Node, doesn't always necessarily mean everything. Like, okay, you will never have a career. Anything that could involve, you attaining worldly success will be just completely out of the question. But it's more, in your case, it's more so speaking to the fact that, you have a lot of karmic tendencies to do things based on maybe what you feel like other people would want for you, or doing things that maybe you feel like would gain you a type of recognition rather amongst other people. And it comes from a place of inadequacy. So these are people where they could be born, especially as Aquarius South Nodes, a lot of times they're weird. They have a difficult time fitting in. A lot of them may be followers or people who really attach themselves to other people. Ironically enough, and with that 10th house energy, these are people who kind of feel like they have to overcompensate for that sense of inadequacy. And a lot of people look to their careers to do that. So a good example of this, and this is just an arbitrary example, is like, okay, a police officer, a lot of these police officers really be on fuck shit and they overuse and abuse their power and their authority. A lot of these people, were bullied in school or something like that. Or you feel like, okay, and that is another manifestation of that Aquarius South Node. A lot of these people are bullied or in situations in early life where they just really feel like, damn, like, is it something wrong? Is it me? Or they can have a difficult time really finding their way. And their way out of that is, okay, well, this just means I have to achieve my way out of my insecurity, or prove to myself or prove to other people that I'm capable of A, B, C, and D. And anytime you're operating in this frequency, you will fall short, because it's going to create that 10th house South Node in Aquarius is going to create a person who has a difficult time fully getting that. You're going to be chasing that respect forever. You're going to be chasing that sense of fulfillment forever. Or even when it comes to like a materialistic standpoint, like, oh, I want to do this because it makes a lot of money. I want to work in this field because there, it comes with this and this, and I get to have power and I get to do this. And whenever you're trying to achieve things with that mindset, it's going to fuck you up because that's not really what you're supposed to be doing. On the contrary, with that Leo North Node, like I said, you could absolutely honor your passions, honor your creativities, and learn how to be a lot more confident in the gifts that God has given you. And as a byproduct of that, you will be placed in situations where you're able to stand out and shine and receive attention and recognition for the things that you do. But once again, it has to be involved or involving you doing something that's very emotional, fulfilling to you. So I would kind of urge you to reconsider, not saying that this is, even after you consider that music and art couldn't be that. And if that is that for you, that's excellent, because you do have a lot of indicators of your artistic abilities, which we'll get into in a minute. But, just reconsider or at least take time to consider what you want, why you want it, that type of thing. And like I said, that fourth house placement with that Leo North Node could just do with you needing to build confidence, which you could lack, and to be someone who's not afraid of competing. You might have to fight for your place. You know what I'm saying? Don't shy away from it. Most people who are really successful do. So yeah, there's that, but also you do have a lot of other indicators that could point towards you being successful or having a career that could deal with the arts or a very creatively or creative based career. For example, your Venus at the 6th degree of Taurus could deal with you being artistic. And at number 6, it's like double Venus influence because Venus governs the number 6. It could also deal with where you have a great ear for music. Maybe you've played an instrument before. You probably have a bomb ass singing voice. Okay. That Aries sun conjunct your Jupiter in the 12th house could deal with you having big dreams, being creative, but you could also lack direction and practicality. You could be the type of person to start things, but not finish them, and that could also be another manifestation of that Capricorn South Node, or your Aquarius South Node in the 10th house. Okay. A person where there's just always something going on, a lot of disruptions, a lot of changes, unexpected changes. These are people who can kind of get thrown off their tracks sometimes by those unexpected changes. And you can even look at that North Node in your 4th house as you being someone who has to learn how to develop the tenacity and the drive to really fight for the things that you want. If you want something bad enough, fight for it. Don't allow yourself to be deterred that easily. Okay. Because like I said, in this lifetime, that Leo North Node pretty much solidifies your path towards, self-expression. Also, your Neptune is conjunct Uranus, and that Aquarius South Node, which could also deal with you having certain disappointments and hiccups, once again, on your path to achieving your ambitions. And this could deal with the person who is very experimental. So, and that's something else too. Like, I feel like you could be the type of person to try different things, and you could kind of get lost in that experimentation phase to the point where you don't like pick what you want to do and go for that. And that's also even reinforced with you being that Gemini moon that you brought up, in your 2nd house. That could be a person who has a magnitude or a multitude of different interests. You here on Monday, you there on Tuesday, or maybe because you did name off like 3 different things that you want to do, which isn't bad, right? But these are people who could kind of spread themselves too thin. I don't know if you ever heard the saying like, okay, well, a jack of all trades is a master of none. Right. So even with your Gemini moon squaring your Mercury in the 11th house of Pisces, that's a person who's all over the place. A person who could lack focus because they have so many different interests, even in terms of the money, right? The money thing that you were speaking about. These are people who can take lots of different odd jobs and, whether you're busting tables and doing this and doing that. And that could impact your focus, that can impact your money, not necessarily the odd jobs thing, but in terms of you not really having any clear and concise way to kind of put your plans into motion, if that makes sense. Like, these people could lack that practicality component, or even have issues when it comes to being realistic. So even when it comes to like setting these goals and how you're going to go about them, is this something that's going to be able to work for you? I've even seen this aspect that Gemini moon squaring your Mercury in the 11th house of Pisces in the charts of people who could have took a chance and fucked around, and now they got to live out their car or something like that, or where they could be sabotaged by their own self-defeatist mentality. I just really think that you can do whatever your heart desires, that Leo North Node gives you the will or the power to will things into existence. But you just need to be very practical and methodical in the way that you go about it. So yeah. And I mean, even in the money department, you need to be very practical about that. You also have Virgo in the 5th house. I would suggest you, do what a lot of artists or a lot of other people do, is have your job, have your, money maker, and then pursue what you want on the side. But along the way, be very clear about what you want, how you're going to get there, what you're going to do to get there, and don't give up. Period, Pooh. And do something to make yourself stand out too. So there's that. Okay. So I'm going to be going to individual number 2. Okay. And we're going to call this person Miss P. She is one of my regulars, and she's almost always in the chat. So Miss P, the question you asked was, where is my love life shifting to meaning? Will I remain single, or will I meet someone and get in a serious relationship? And so looking at your chart, right? I'm gonna keep it real. You got some fucked up like luck with me. You have really bad luck with men. Really bad luck with men. Okay. One of the first things that I noticed was your Capricorn ascendant at the 16th degree. That number 16 could also deal with victimization, tragedy, but also a situation where a person can be very isolated a lot of the times, whether it's self-imposed isolation or whether it's, involuntary, like meaning something happens and now you spent a lot of time alone. And then your chart ruler of Saturn is at the 29th degree. You got that 29 also reoccurs in your chart. The 29th degree of Libra, which is the crisis, the anoretic degree, which brings about a lot of karma in your relationships. These are people who could be single for a long time, alone for a long time. That could also be very lonely people, which is also reinforced with you being a Capricorn South Node in that 12th house. I believe it's in the 12th house. Hold on, let me go back and check. I think, wait. Yep, I was right, in the 12th house. So, I mean, you got right away, you got there's a lot of loaded energy surrounding your relationships. This could also even deal with there being a fear of relationships, or where you find yourself in relationships where there's always balance is always missing in your relationships. This could even deal with you being somebody who carries, like when you are in relationships, you carry a lot of the burden of the relationship. So you may be the partner that works harder or does the most, to carry the relationship on your back. And these are people who need to practice a lot of discernment when it comes to their relationships as well. I see this in the charts of especially women who always feel the need to prove their worth to their partners, or they could choose partners based on their own self-deprecating tendencies. Especially that number 29 could also deal with rock bottom self-esteem. Okay. But it can also deal with issues with monogamy, third party situations. So maybe you attract partners who cheat. No, I'm actually pretty sure you do, because you're also a Scorpio sun with your sun at the 29th degree as well. I'm gonna just keep it a bug. It's not, it doesn't look great. Yeah, and I've also seen this in the charts of people who have bad relationships and they have a really difficult time getting over it. Also reinforced with you being a Capricorn South Node in that 12th house. Then you got your Saturn conjunct your Pluto in Libra at the 28th degree, which is like another one that could just create a lot of dysfunctional relationships, even maybe to where you attract abusive relationships or relationships where power struggles could be a major theme. That right there is going to bring a lot of situations where it's going to be difficult for you to maintain long and, like harmonious relationships for long periods of time. And even going back to your sun at the 29th degree of Scorpio, like I said, that's just bad luck with men. It just is. You attract men where there's more than what appears to be on the surface. Men where you always have to share them. Attracting men who are manipulative, abusive, and could potentially have issues with women like mommy issues and shit that they project out onto you, or they're insecure as well. And just sneaky, very sneaky men. And that's also reinforced with your Mars in the 12th house. Your sun is also opposing your Chiron in the 4th house of Taurus, which deals with you or reinforces you having issues with your self-esteem. Okay. Really big issues with your self-esteem. And, you could even be someone who could be damaged. And because you're damaged, you attract damaged men. Men where, stability in a relationship could be lacking. Reciprocity could always be a big thing, or a lack thereof, where once again, you are always carrying the burden in the relationship. You feeling like, that could always be the main theme. One person or the other could always just feel like, I'm giving and not getting in return. I just have a feeling that that's you, but it could go either way. It could also deal with where you could, attract men who have issues with providing, men who are parasitic, leeches. That's also reinforced with Mars in the 12th house. They could also be addicts with that Mars in the 12th house. They could also be jailbirds. So I want you to kind of keep your eyes peeled out for everything that I'm naming, because you can attract all of this. Your sun is conjunct Jupiter at the 22nd degree. In your 10th house, which deals with you dating older men, perhaps you do. That's also reinforced with your Capricorn Mars, or men that maybe you've met at work, in the workplace. But I also get the vibe that you could gravitate towards long distance relationships. You could be open to dating outside of your race or culture, which is also reinforced with your sun conjunct Venus at that 3rd degree of Sagittarius. But I feel like you could also be someone where I feel like you are supposed to be able to benefit from financially from your relationships. But the sun conjunct Jupiter could also deal with where your relationships, once again, can be very controlling. But where and this is something else that I get, even with your sun conjunct Venus and Sag, and sun conjunct Jupiter and Scorpio, I think you are somebody that when you do meet a prospect, you could fall hard, like long and hard, where it's almost like these really deep whirlwind passion type of relationships where you jump in head first, get lost in the other person, and these relationships can get really codependent really fast. It could also even deal with where you have very high expectations for other people and they're seldom ever met. Also, their Mars at the 15th degree of Capricorn in that 12th house does reinforce a lot of past life karma with men that carried over into this lifetime. And this is actually the factor that is mostly responsible for the issues in your love life, in addition to, or especially that Capricorn South Node, because these are people, and this could be something, I mean, really, it is something that you have I'm not going to say you don't have any control over, but it doesn't necessarily have to be your fault. I think it's a past life thing. It's like, it's debt that just kind of you have to pay it. But it could deal with where, like I said, starting with your father, you could have some major daddy issues, and also kind of project that outwardly. These are people who could have a fear or a paranoia surrounding men, relationships, and maybe even their sexuality, where isolating could be a common thing. And making empty sacrifices in relationships that hardly ever pay off. Also attracting men who don't really say what they do and do what they say. They could be flaky. They could be the type to ghost you, or maybe that could be you. But with your Aquarius moon forming a sextile to your Uranus and your Venus, I feel like you're going to be somebody, and even when you take into consideration that Cancer North Node in the 6th house, yes, you are supposed to be someone who focuses more on your family life, but more so from a standpoint of healing a lot of these issues that have plagued you from childhood. And I think that, the byproduct of that could be you attracting relationships with men. But I'm going to be real with you. You're going to have to parse through a lot of bullshit. You are naturally going to attract some crazy ass, crazy ass, codependent, unhealthy, toxic situations with men. You do. And I think a huge part of learning to kind of either reverse or kind of fix that is, focusing on that North Node. That Cancer North Node in the 6th house could deal with you being someone who in this lifetime has to learn how to soften up and learn how to forgive yourself and practice a lot of unconditional love with yourself, which is way easier said than done. And like even that 6th house influence deals with improvement, self-improvement, working on you. That should be your primary focus. And I think the other things that are associated with that could, fall into place. But even then, even with you being an Aquarius moon, I feel like you might be someone where it may not look like what it is for everyone else. I wouldn't define what my happy or my perfect ending is like based on what other people have going on. Because I feel like for you, it could be different. For you, with your moon forming a sextile to that Uranus and Venus, maybe you're somebody who could, find yourself in a marriage of convenience, or being with a partner to where it's just like, okay, well, it's convenient and it makes sense. Maybe y'all don't have the most emotional and sentimental style relationship, but it's just like, okay, you know what I'm saying? But that could also be another manifestation of that Capricorn South Node in the 12th house. I do see that in the charts of some women who naturally are very spoiled, like who like to be kept and stuff like that, especially if they're dating older men with that Capricorn influence. But anyway, it could just deal with where, I don't know if you are into online dating, but that aspect is really good for online dating. Once again, I'm talking about your Aquarius moon sextiling your Uranus and Venus. Okay. This is also good for dating friends. Like I said, receiving money from partners. I don't know if you've ever dated outside of your race or your culture. Okay. That's also really big, especially with that Venus and Sagittarius conjunct your sun, dating like people, exotic people and whatever the case may be, right? Or maybe if you relocated, you moved and then you'll find a partner there, that type of thing. So I mean, to answer your question, I think you could find a relationship, but I honestly just work on you. Work on you, and then, everything else, I can't even guarantee that it'll fall into place, but I just think you need to work on you first and foremost. You have a lot of healing that you have to do, okay? A lot of healing that you have to do within yourself. So that should honestly be your primary focus. And then the people that you do form bonds with along the way, you just need to learn how to vet people and fine tune your discernment, and then find something that works for you. And by working for you, I mean like something that's not really toxic. All right. And then the last one, I'm going to call this person Dee Dee. And Dee Dee wanted to know, hold on, let me get Dee Dee's message, because Dee Dee had a really good one. Poppin'. Dee Dee says, hi, Megan. Can you give me some insight on my business? I've been a hairstylist for over 7 years. Although I love my job, I'm starting to believe I need to retire because I don't make enough to support myself. Do you see me having a successful career in cosmetology, or should I move on? And Miss Dee, to answer your question up front, I'm going to say you absolutely need to stick to what you're doing. Like, don't change your love for cosmetology, or don't switch your career field. I mean, obviously, I know needing to provide for yourself financially is going to be a major concern, and especially more so with you being a Taurus sun moon, right? Absolutely. Security, stability, all of these things are very important to you. But the reason I say this is because, you do have that Gemini South Node in your 11th house, which makes your North Node in the 5th house of Sagittarius. And very similar to Leo North Nodes, people with their 5th or North Nodes in the 5th house, specifically even attached to a sign like Sagittarius, these are people who have a karmic responsibility to develop faith and trust the process. So yes, these are people who are also supposed to be following their passions, but there could be many different roadblocks and obstacles that can get in the way of that as well. And as Gemini South knows, these are people who are naturally prone to once again be very scattered, or they can be very easily distracted from the mission. Okay. And I know that once again, especially with you being a Taurus and sun and moon and having all that strong Taurus energy, these are valid and real concerns, right? Okay. I need to be able to support myself. Okay. I need money, right? But it's very important to keep in mind that you don't have to sell yourself short, and you can get everything you want. With that Sagittarius North Node in your 5th house, you can look at that as like you getting like all of your dreams coming true, like your passions and your wishes coming true. So these are people who have to learn how to take chances to get what they want, which it does not really coincide with that Taurus energy, right? Taurus is like, no, I really would much more prefer to take my ass to the bank. But with your Sagittarius North Node in the 5th house, you need to be someone who is willing to gamble, even with that Leo North Node. Gamble, take chances, the chances that are going to be able to help you manifest your dreams and will them into existence. Some people find luck with moving and relocation. Okay, with that Sagittarius North Node. Some people even find luck when it comes to going back to school. And so I'm not really sure if you have your license, like a cosmetology license. I'm assuming you do, maybe, I'm not sure. But, maybe go and get some like additional schooling or training, go specialize in something that could make you a lot more marketable or able to compete. Hence that 5th house North Node, something that's going to make you able to compete a little bit better in your market or in your field, right, or industry. But this could also even deal with where you have to learn how to focus on your intuition. Gemini South Nodes can be really big on the self-doubt type tip, like people who are constantly questioning, like, okay, am I doing the right thing? And, they're always trying to explore, or they're entertaining many different points of view. Okay, well, then this could be going wrong, and then this could be going wrong. These are also people who are liable to rely on advice from other people. Okay, which for obvious reasons may not necessarily be the best thing, not all the time. Let me see what your Mercury is doing. It's at the 12th degree of Aries, and you are, and these could be people who look for opinions that kind of mirror their own, but your Mercury is opposing your Jupiter in Libra. Yeah, okay. At the 6th degree in the 3rd house. Yeah, that's you seeking advice from other people. And you could be listening to you could put a lot of value or stock into what other people have to say, especially family. So I don't know if you have family talking to you like, oh, you need to get it together. Like, but I do feel like you could take place a lot of stock into other people and how other people feel. And there's a lot of noise, but as that Sagittarius North node, like in the 5th, you need to trust yourself. You need to trust yourself and focus on the bigger picture. Then you also have Chiron in your 1st house of Leo, which could already create a person who is has issues with like either their confidence or things like that, right? And then it's squaring your Taurus sun in the 10th house, which also could point towards problems with marketing that could affect your money. Obviously, you know, especially as a hairdresser, like a lot of how you receive clients could either be word of mouth or, I mean, really just you having like, you know, visibility of some sort. That's how you get your referrals and whatnot. So I feel like you could naturally have issues with like putting yourself out there, or there could be some issue in the marketing department, or issues where you feel like you have trouble getting the attention and recognition that you deserve. Also, and I guess to remedy that, right, your sun is forming a sextile in your 8th house of or it's forming a sextile to your Saturn. I can't talk. In your 8th house of Aquarius, which could deal with you implementing a lot more social media, maybe collaborating with others to kind of help you generate more income. And also getting with a man who can help you support your hustle. But that's an option. But primarily, I think it's a marketing issue, is my opinion. So, long story short, I feel like you could still definitely do this. And I mean, I get having to pay bills. Like, we all gotta live, we all gotta eat. And you got your moon opposing your Pluto in that 5th house of Scorpio. That's issues with money too. That could even deal with where you have a lot of debt. So I get it, you right. And then even just Aquarius, Saturn in the 8th house of Aquarius can bring challenges with money. Oh, I feel like you're not that great with money. That could also be some of the problem as well. So, I mean, I think that fixing some of these, I think you need to fix and make alterations to other areas of your life, but please don't stop hairdressing, especially if that's like your passion, that's your love. Like, don't. I would hate for you to be deterred, you know? So I am going to take a look at the comments. Tell me what it takes to be with you. I go crazy when you cross my mind. So we can send the information both in email or the chat for the free reading. No, it's my email. Y'all got to follow directions. I put my email in the chat like before I did the reading, before I started the readings. What's the title of the song in the beginning? Oh, I can tell you because it's my friend. I got to plug him. I can plug him. It is... Hey, where did my thing go? I was listening to this artist by the name of The Dowdell, Dowdell, The Dowdell. And the song I was listening to was called Be With You. And he's really dope, y'all. And y'all know, if you know, you know, I'm very critical when it comes to like local artists and not really, I guess you could say underground artists. I live in Atlanta, y'all, and everybody wants to be a rapper. Everybody wants to be a singer. Everybody think they got that sauce. And I'm like, okay, somebody needs to be doctors and lawyers because everybody can't be rappers and singers. But he is very talented. Very, very talented. He sings. He kind of puts me in the mind of a Tory Lanez, minus the problematic shit. But he's bomb. He's bomb, and he's from Atlanta, and he's just amazing. Tell me what it takes to be with you. Let's see. Oh, yeah. You want me to do Obama's chart? Oh, my God. I think I'm going to make that a video, Patricia. I'm going to make that an actual video, like a video, like a pre-recorded video, because it's a lot of stuff to unpack with him, and I don't want to miss a beat. I don't want to miss a beat. But thank you for putting that on my mind. How many questions can we write in the email? One question. Talking to a mad woman, huh? You don't necessarily have to have a birth time available. Okay, your chart can still be read with no birth time. It's just that you would have to forego anything that would involve your houses. So discussing things like your ascendant and the house placements like wouldn't be a thing anymore, which is fine. I mean, you don't have it adds a layer of nuance to the reading that can make it a lot more accurate, but it's not impossible. I mean, I do that with most of these celebrities. I don't know what time them niggas was born. So it can be done. So, I mean, if worse comes to worse and you don't have your birth time, we can work around that. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button for me. Hey, Lady Buddha. How can I book a reading? I'm going to put my email address in the chat again. I did it at the beginning of the video, but just send me an email and I will get you over a service and pricing sheet. I'm putting it in now. And just be like, hey, what's up? I was just in your live, interested in booking a reading. How do we do this? And I got you. So for readings and consultations, go ahead and hit me up at my email address. All of my readings are delivered. I do phone appointments, but my schedule and my availability is not that great. So I really prefer pre-recorded videos, and it just happens to work because it's the style that I do my YouTube videos, right? And a lot of people enjoy that because you're able to go back and watch the video or listen to the recording, and it stays up permanently. So it's just like, you can always go back and refer. Should you date a sun sign that matches your North Node sign? I think, I mean, it would still definitely come with some challenges, but I mean, yeah, I would say yes. The answer is yes. It's okay. Yes. Because essentially when you meet somebody who's, when you meet somebody who shares the sun sign or like your North Node sign, basically, and that's crazy. I was talking to my friend about this the other night because she's a Sagittarius North Node, and all she attracts are Sagittarians, right? I'm a Sag. Her boyfriend's a Sag moon. She got like 3 other Sag best friends. She's cool with one of her coworkers who's a Sag, and essentially that person has a lot of the traits that you are supposed to be developing in this lifetime. So in a way, it's almost like these are people, it's a karmic relationship for sure. And you're gravitated towards these people because on a subconscious level, they have something that they're supposed to be teaching you. They're supposed to help bring those qualities out of you. So if you're a Capricorn North Node, right, and you start dating a Capricorn, you might deal with a person, like if you're a woman and you're dating a Capricorn man, he might be a guy who is very, he might not be as loving and attentive as you want him to be. But I mean, technically, which would be, it doesn't always have to manifest in a positive way. So I guess what I'm saying is you can do it, right? It may be very uncomfortable because a lot of times our North Node, tapping into our North Node energy is very uncomfortable. But that person may kind of force you, if you're consciously aware, they can kind of force you and help guide you and put you through things to help you develop those traits for yourself. So, okay, yeah, you having a boyfriend that's not as emotionally available as you would like for him to be, that sucks. Yeah, you probably wouldn't like that shit. But from a karmic standpoint, you're supposed to rely more on yourself than you are on anyone else. So he's doing his job, if that makes sense. Right. So even in my friend's case, she could be kind of like a, what do you call it? I love, that's my baby. I love her to death. That's my sister. But she can be like a prude, or she can just kind of be one of those people who sometimes, has a little stick up their ass. And she attracts all of these Sagittarians to show her, girl, live, be free. But a lot of times, she ends up like living vicariously through her friends, or like she'll be a lot more apprehensive to developing those qualities, because that's not what she's comfortable with doing. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God, Sukiana. Oh my God. Oh Lord. So this Suki situation, how many of y'all saw that video? You did? Okay. So here's my thing. Okay. I don't mind the whole movement. I don't mind whole culture. And that's something else. If you've been on my channel for a minute, you know I love the hoes. Okay. I'm a former hoe myself. I love the hoes. Megan love the hoes. However, there is a conversation that needs to be had about being liberated in one's sexuality versus trauma responses. Because a lot of times, especially when we're talking about Black girls, right? Because whole culture for white women and other women is different. There's a lot of intersectionality. Black girls, from a statistic standpoint, right, are over sexualized. I forgot the actual statistic, but like we are, sexually exploited at a disproportionate rate, to our counterparts. And so many of these other different kind of like traumatic things that could go on with Black women and Black girls that start very early, right? Sexual abuse, molestation, rape, and whatever. And a lot of people deal with that, and the way in which a lot of people handle that, is to become overtly sexual, to kind of go out of their way and act out. And so when you see people and when you see women who are very sexual, even myself included, when I had to really take time to dissect where my wholeness came from, right? When I was in my early 20s, a lot of it came from a place of hurt. A lot of it came from a place of trauma. A lot of it came from a place of abuse. I make no qualms about that. I was molested as a child repeatedly. So I say that to say this. I don't want that to be lost whenever we're talking about embracing your sexuality and being free, right? Because I do think there is a fine line. And I think that, I just think that a lot of women are carrying unprocessed trauma that they don't really know how to deal with. So they disguise it as, I'm a hoe and I'm fine, because they feel like they're taking back some sort of power. If that makes sense. Y'all get what I'm trying to say? I would never be a hoe. Well, you don't, and you know what? That's why this is America. You ain't gotta be a hoe. If you don't want to be a hoe, and really that's the beauty of it. I believe in being whatever the fuck you want to be. If you want to be a nun, if you want to be a pilgrim with turtlenecks, you do that. If you just want to be a regular, schmegular person, you can do that. If you want to be a whore, you go be the best whore you can be. But I would prefer you do it from a place of self-awareness and understanding yourself while you're doing what you're doing. There's a psychology behind everything. Everybody got the right to do what they want to do. But my issue, and bring this back to Sukiana, was at first I was like, okay, I like her. I get what she's saying. I've always felt she was a little slow. She gives me like short but shouty, just a little bit. I mean, she said she was a special ed in school. Maybe I don't know if she said that just for shock value, but she gives me IEP kind of tea. So I was just like, okay, she's a little slow, but okay, she's not, whatever. I get the point that she was trying to make and what she kind of claimed to stand for, right? Don't fuck broke niggas. If you're gonna fuck a nigga, get paid. And I'm all about that. Then I started noticing like little inconsistencies, and this is what her and a lot of these girls, the pop my pussy girls that we kind of have pushed as like our leaders of hoe culture. They say things on wax, right? I suck a mean dick. Yeah, nigga eat this chicken. He eat this pussy like a chicken nugget. Like, okay, cool. But off, like in their regular lives, they actually adhere to a lot of these patriarchal standards and social norms. Because I remember Suki coming out with a post where she's like, yeah, I do hoe shit, but I'm a hoe for my man. Huh? I remember an interview that Megan Thee Stallion did, and y'all know how Megan get down. And she did an interview where she was like, people always want me to be a hoe. And I would just find one guy and fuck him, so my body count is low. And I'm like, wait a minute now. Wait. So which is it, girl? Are you like, you see? And so for that reason, I just don't think people should put a lot of value and stock on these these whole celebrities, because they're doing it for a check. Okay. So you have to figure out what you identify with outside of them, because clearly, I mean, and even the way that they present themselves, their sexuality is packaged for male consumption. So it's just kind of weird. And then to see sis choking, not even just choking. Sukiana posted a video where she was throwing up on dick. And it bothered my spirit, because I get everybody has fetishes. I get that, your sex can look like whatever it want to look like. Okay, that's your business. With you and adult you fucking. But I think it just went too far. And y'all know I'm far from a prude. But why the fuck did we have to see that? Like, why do we have to see you throwing up on a dick? And it actually looked like she was sad. Like, I don't know if that, throwing up does take a lot out of you. So maybe I'm reading too deep into it. But sis looks sad. It just, all I'm going to say is I wouldn't want it to be my daughter. I'm going to just put it like that. It couldn't be my child. I've been saying this. I think abuse in childhood is why a lot of Black males are hypersexual. And that is very true, Irrational Kiss. Black boys are often groomed to be sexual at an early age, too. Yeah, a sick rite of passage like Lil Boosie. I had fun during my college years. Okay, me too. I make no mistakes about it. Like, I've lived, honey, like Wendy Williams say. I done lived. But I can be honest and say that in my living, right, I understand that some of that was trauma responses. But I have fun though. Shit. Profit and pussy. Okay. Pussy gonna always rule the world. And I remember somebody told me, it was like an older lady a long time ago, used to always say, if you got a pussy, you should never be broke. And I know a lot of people will take that to mean like, oh my God, that means you should prostitute. First of all, there's nothing wrong with prostitution. I just feel like whatever you do, you need to be the best at doing it. So if you're going to prostitute yourself, because people like to use that word as like a gotcha whenever you talking about like how you don't like fucking broke niggas. Oh, so what? Let me guess, you a prostitute? Like, I mean, nah, but like that's not like you calling me a prostitute's not really hurting my. I don't know. It's just my thing is okay. If you a $5 hoe walking up and down the boulevard, we have a problem. Okay, if you handing out $40 and $50 blowjobs on the street corner, we have a problem. I don't know if y'all didn't notice, but it's like hella escorts, like female escorts who make bank. Okay. Thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars per interaction. So I'm not necessarily, advocating for it, but let's be real. Prostitution is not a new profession. They've been prostituting since before Christ. Okay. It's a thing. So I think the real issue that a lot of people have is based in, or is rooted in misogyny. Okay, or misogynoir with Black women, because there is something about a woman owning her sexuality, one, and being able to benefit off of it that really just rubs people the wrong fucking way. It really bothers people. It really bothers people. Can't be doing that. They're gonna talk bad about you at the barbershop. Fuck them at the barbershop. Let them talk. Because they got to hear this. Somebody got to say it. There's a disconnect between the message and their actions. He pissed on her. Child. I mean, listen. Some people like that. I'm nasty. I'm kinky. But what we're not going to do, you're not spitting in my mouth, and there will be no shit or piss in the bedroom or vomit. Do y'all know how stanky throw up smells? Do you know how stanky throw up smells? And as a man, is that what you like, huh? You want somebody to vomit on your dick. Any nigga who likes vomit and throw up on his dick, we're going to... I just let me know up front so I can back away slowly and just disappear into the night. Cause I don't need that. I don't want it. No, thank you. Y'all remember in the interview, Suki tried to say when she was stripping, all the girls were selling pussy except I don't remember that. Suki married too. Thank you, famous nobody. Can we talk about how women are attracted to certain men that abuse them? What do you mean? Like women who stay in like abusive relationships, that type of thing? Because Stockholm syndrome is a thing. It's a thing. A reading on Jaguar, right? Okay, I got one up on Patreon, but I'll do one over here for y'all tonight. Because that bitch is crazy. It is an entertainment check for these women. It is. They don't believe, even Lil' Kim, none of them believe that shit, and that shit they be talking. It sound good, but they don't believe in none of that shit. They want some money. I'd rather watch them do porn. Kind of like Superhead. Ain't nothing wrong, with a whole phase, sexually liberated phase, even if it's not a phase. Live your life. I meant you can't be throwing up on the. It's just, I don't understand. My mom and my great granny used to say they don't be giving no cookies away for free. It took me, okay, that's what I'm saying. And people always say, well, and I was talking to one guy, of course, He was a broke nigga. And this is in the days where I used to actually converse and try to like talk to broke niggas. But he was like, well, sex is an even exchange. And I said, nigga, no, the fuck it's not. Because I guess his point was like, why do women feel like they're owed money if a nigga's fucking? And I'm like, because nothing is free. And I guess he was saying, well, sex is an even exchange. So therefore, why would I have to pay you? And I'm like, well, in a vacuum, like theoretically, that's correct. But when like in real life, given that once again we live in a patriarchy where my worth technically on paper is devalued after every sex partner that I have, right? In every sexual exchange, the power is automatically transferred or assumed upon. If a man and a woman have sex, when people are describing that narrative, what they say? He fucked her. Oh, he knocked that one down. He smashed. He smash, smash. No cuffing. Like, seldom have I ever heard, oh, Sally and John, Sally fucked the shit out of John. Sally knocking him down. Like, without there being a negative connotation to that on the back end. So, with that being said, right? And a lot of times men are very superficial as well. They're attracted to women and they want one thing, or they make no qualms about the fact they want a good looking woman. They want a woman who meets this standard, who meets that standard, who does this, who does that, right? And even if you want to bring astrology into the fold, men are governed by the sun. All right. And the sun can be very superficial. It's all about what makes them look good and what benefits and inflates their ego. So in exchange for that, right, the kind of the major currency for women, we need something, we need stability. We need something. What do we gain out of that whole situation? Except being step stools. Well, what do we gain out of that? What do we, and let's be real, most men are socialized to not really want intimate relationships with women, not for real, or long-term relationships. Most aren't. I'm not saying that there are not men who are looking for relationships. That's not what I'm saying. But a lot of men are socialized to be like, get the coochie and dip. Feed your lower nature, sow your royal oats, and dip. And as women, we're taught to look for security and stability, and you're happily ever after. And every man that you fuck, your value decreases. So if I'm dealing with a nigga who he has no intention on being a partner for me in any serious way, right? But guess what? He still wants. Guess what he still wants? This coochie. So what's in it for me? Because you're getting your need met. Where's mine? Oh, okay. That's what I thought. Nigga, send me some money to my Cashapp. Otherwise, I'm busy. Otherwise, I don't have the time. Broke niggas make me sick. Do y'all feel me or y'all feel me? Sex is an energy exchange. There is and that's a whole different conversation for a different day. But there is an energetic component to sex. Absolutely. My uncle was sexually abused by a 40-year-old woman, and he became someone who worked in the human trafficking industry. He was murdered at 26. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm sorry. We all know that Honeycombs Diddy Bop Booty Booty Bandit. Oh. Right, you can't be walking around with a wet ass and dry pockets. Come on, Granny. Granny had the game. She had it right. That grandmama's wisdom. Hey, black girl, so fly. It's like I'm in church. I'm trying to tell you. Sex has gotten so mainstream, they feel like they don't have to work for it anymore. And a lot of that is, I hate to say it, women, a lot of that is our fault. I mean, because on the individual, I mean, you're not responsible for the actions of men at all. And they do need to be held accountable. But that's a conversation to have, but on the individual level, you can't control nothing but yourself. So all of your interactions with men need to come from a place of empowerment and where you're putting yourself first. Because guess what? These motherfuckers is gonna put them first, right? It's about you having standards that you adhere to and don't compromise on. Because a man not finna compromise on his standards. If he say he I want a long hair, thick, red bone. I want guess what? If you don't fit that description, bitch, that's too fucking bad. If he say he want to fuck with a chick who got this and that and the third, or if he say he want a relationship under these conditions, he's going to get that. And if you don't fit that, he's going to find someone who will. So what's tea? Like, why is it any different for women? Why is it any different when, especially Black women, why is it any different when we have demands or standards or I'm not like really vibing. So I said all that to say, like, the whole culture, I don't really have a problem. I have a problem with who's representing the whole culture, like celebrity wise, but the concept, the idea of fuck you, pay me, I support it 100%. I support this message. They should be whining and dining women, not hit it and quit it. Listen, you can hit it and quit it. Just cash at me first. But I do agree though. If you're gonna fuck me, I need to be fair. I saw a meme somewhere the other night where it was like, if you hit a dude up and tell him that you're hungry and he does not offer to bring you some food, trash. In the trash. Trash. Delete his number. Forget about him. Because had you hit him up saying, oh, I'm horny. Oh, come get this pussy daddy. He would break his neck trying to be on the way. He'd be in the middle of his grandmama funeral. Okay. And almost crash, swerving down 285 to come to get to your street. So yes, I believe in testing these niggas. Right. Hey, Lilith. It seems like everyone is against Black women being happy. I mean, yeah, people do want to see us fail, but you know what? Guess what? Black women are actually the mothers of the universe, and I don't mean that in like an abstract, like neo soul woke kind of way, but the divine feminine came before the divine masculine, and that's what a lot of people in a lot of different religions don't tell y'all. So I mean, it'll never prevail. Hey, Shayna. We trashing men. I'm not gonna say we necessarily trashing men, but we were speaking about first the Sukiana thing, and let me go ahead and get into her chart. So let me pull up her information. Suki with nigga coochie, but we were speaking about Suki vomiting on her nigga dick on OnlyFans. That was very weird, and I just think she is a horrible representation for the whole culture. It's just something about her. It just don't really sit right with me. I met a guy who had a child. He only knew me for 2 days, and he wanted to have sexual intercourse with me and his family. I feel like, oh my God. Yeah, that's a bit much. That's a lot. Pussy is power. A man will do what pussy tell him, period. Especially if he on low vibes for sex. That's on period. Can we look at TK's chart? He's serving that life sentence. He got life. Good job, Patricia. She probably did to her soul. Not all Black women are in bad positions. Some of us actually break generational curses and prevail. And a lot of us do, Jessica. And that's what I love about Black women. We are very resilient. Very resilient. Not to be mistaken with strong, but very resilient. Because, you know, like many others, I definitely resent that strong Black woman trope. But we are very resilient. I thought I had Sukiyana's chart saved to my thingy thing. Because I know I put it up a long time ago. I did not know Sukiyana and I were literally like a couple weeks apart in age. And that's another thing, too, that kind of has me side-eyeing her, too. Because I'm like, girl, you're supposed to be getting a little older and wiser. And let's be clear, I'm not ageist, and nor am I trying to imply that you have to act a certain way to be a certain age. But I'm like, girl, we in the second semester. We tailing out, we hedging out the second semester of our 20s. So I have a little bit of like some difficulty understanding her actions and how she moves. Yeah, I'm like, girl, what's up with that? I thought I saved it. Suki. Come on, Mars and Capricorn. Thought Suki was 20. Nope, she 28. Just like me. I was like, girl. Yeah. But I don't know. I don't understand. I'm scared to have sexual intercourse. I heard it hurts really bad, and I don't want to give my virginity to a lower vibrational clown. Oh, keep it as long as you can, Patricia. I'm gonna be honest. Keep it as long as you can. When you're ready to give it away, you will know. You will know. Keep it as long. I swear, these niggas is not worth the bacteria. They not worth the motherfucking nair. Well, I guess you're not supposed to nair your pussy, but they not worth the motherfucking razor bumps it takes to shave your pussy before you get dick. They not worth none of it. Okay. You wait as long as you can. And that's something that I would definitely tell my daughter. Wait as long as you can. Wait as long as you can. Because that's power in that. And your energy is very precious. Your cervix, your uterus is very precious, and you don't want to give that to just anybody. And it is very overrated because statistically speaking, isn't it like something like 85% of women? Hold on, let me look up the actual stat. Women orgasm stat. But my point is most of us don't even be having orgasms, sis. So these niggas just really be using our bodies to masturbate. Women orgasm statistics. For women, having an orgasm from intercourse is much less guaranteed than for men. In 2015, 46% of women said they always or nearly always had an orgasm when having intercourse. So if 46% of women said that they did have an orgasm, how many didn't? That's 54%, if my math is correct, of women. Over half of women during sex don't come. And I've never experienced an orgasm during sex. So, girl, yes, please be a virgin for as long as you possibly can. These niggas ain't good for shit. I miss dick though. I can't even remember how I feel. How long has it been, Lilith? I've been abstinent for 3 years, 3 long years. I got Aquarius in the 5th house. So I can go long time periods without sex. Mars and Scorpio. Hey, I got a reading from you the other day. Wanted more details. Well, hit me up. Like I always say at the end of the reading, hit me up. Nora. Oh, I remember you. Hit me up and what was your question? I'll just hit me up. Send me another email and we'll talk about it. Yes, your energy is very precious. See, some niggas don't clean themselves, and I find that too. A lot of niggas is nasty and dirty. Some stats are saying that millennials don't even be having sex like that, and that there are more people that haven't even have any kind of romantic situations before. Dang. Only bitches in porn be having, and porn's not even real. There's a reason why porn is represented by Pisces, because much like everything else tied to the music industry and the entertainment, it's all an illusion. It's an illusion. It's an illusion. That's why when people get so caught up in shit like that, like they have a difficult time connecting to other people with intimacy and stuff, like people who have porn addictions and stuff, because that's not what real sex is like. Real sex is not a bitch laid on her back, squirting to the sky like a motherfucking slip and slide. Slip and slide, get loose. More punched in the bowl of juice. Like that's not like, have you seen how them bitches be squirting on porn? That's not real, beloved. I never had an orgasm with a man. Yeah. I hope I do before it's all said and done. Yeah, I read a little. Millennials are not having sex. Wow. Wasting all this good on dudes who can't stroke it correctly. I've only experienced an orgasm during sex once. Wow. I see. You do, Tosh, baby. You're lucky. Please, bitches in porn, their booty be oiled up and pussy still be dry as fuck. They do. I noticed that too. Little niggas be having to start their coochie, and I'm like, oh, I'm thinking maybe it's because there are a lot of takes. You know, just like acting, like regular film, like there are a lot of different takes. So if you on set fucking for hours on end, I'm pretty sure her coochie can't stay wet. But even then, why can't they just put lube? Why can't they just use lube? I don't know. Something to think about. My mother said my father never gave her an orgasm. She was with him for almost 30 years. Well, I'm surprised you could talk to your mom about that. That's sad too. Pops wasn't putting it down. Leo in the fifth. I mean, that's a lot more sexual. It depends on what else is going on, but typically, I mean, that fifth house and that Leo energy does deal directly with sex. So they can be very sexual people. I don't use yoni eggs. Do you? What's your opinion on those? You're not wasting my 6 minutes. I could be doing laundry. You email me. Okay, thanks, babe. I'll hit you back probably in the morning. I got a lot of emails to catch up on. If men can't even make you come and only stress you, what's the point? I asked myself that. But I crave masculinity. And I've been I've been in a situation where I've been like healing myself. And the more that I've been reflecting on certain things, even with my own natal alignments, right? I got Sun conjunct Mars. And a lot of women with Sun conjunct Mars are either they're very masculine themselves, or they are naturally just drawn towards masculine energy. I can't help it. Like I do like masculine energy. I like men. I like hyper masculine men. Not necessarily toxic masculinity, but I love the whole ambiance of a divine masculine man, a man who is actually, he's tapped into his own higher self. So like the whole protector, provider, being very, even killed in his approach and his demeanor. Like I love men like that. Oh, I love like super masculine men. I love it. It's just that a lot of these niggas they bitches. Really. They raised by single mothers, which we're not going to blame the single mothers, right? Because clearly there was a father who ain't doing what the fuck he supposed to do. But, they're raised by single mothers who overcompensate and baby them. And then they start acting like they out here acting like hoes. They literally, and they think that in a lot of hoteps try to make the correlation because like, oh, they'll be gay men or like they'll try to scapegoat gay people, but I'm talking about heterosexual men be acting like some hoes out here, some hoes, because your mama done let you suck on her titty till you damn near 30 years old. You done watch your mama struggle and suffer and do all this shit. Now you go out into the world and think women are supposed to be your mama. Guess what, bitch? I'm not your bald head ass fat ass mammy, hoe. I'm not doing none of that shit your mama did, bitch. I'm not your mama. And your mama was dead ass wrong. Your mama was struggling. Now you feel like women are supposed to struggle. Like that becomes their love language. Cause you done seen your mama out here down on her luck. That's what bothers me. I hate those type of men. I love a grown ass man's man. I've never met, obviously, we ain't met Malcolm X, but the idea, like Malcolm X and what we know of him is the epitome of like a man. And he's a Taurus, and Taurus is one of those hyper masculine signs, right? Taurus men are providers. Even when you think about that Taurus energy, Taurian energy, I'm the provider. I am the supplier. I will provide for my family and their needs. I am the protector. It's my job to guarantee safety. That Taurus thing, I love it. I mean, I don't care for Tauruses like that, but I mean, I like the idea of that. Like Malcolm X seemed like he was just a man, honey. A man. Martha the Twin. Oh yeah, you do attract abusive men or gay men or men who don't, men who are very emotionally immature. They have women getting an O shot in their clit to achieve clitoral orgasms, but you have to keep going. Well, I don't have a problem with clitoral orgasms. Like for me personally, my experience has been clitoral orgasms are very easy to get. Like, cause all you gotta do is rub your coochie back and forth like you a DJ. Run. But like it's the vaginal orgasms that I've always been so fascinated by it, because I never understood how a woman could come off of just penetration. So how do they work? How do the yoni eggs work? Do you know what kind of men I would attract with the Virgo Mars? Men who can help your life in a very practical way. So a lot of times these women attract helpmates. So men who literally like could improve the quality of your life. Like maybe, these are men who could play very supportive roles for you. But on the darker end, they could also be very insecure. They could be men who, or it could even deal with you finding men who are like, where you feel like you got to fix them up, where like you got to take on fixer-upper projects and shit. But you could also attract men who are very insecure and men who can be kind of like, they always need reassurance and shit like that. And, they nag a lot, and it's hard to really find a happy medium in the relationship on the more darker end. It just depends. Good men exist. Yeah, I try to keep telling myself that so we can manifest that. Gen Z is hypersexual like OD. I hate dating in my generation because everything is about sex. To be fair, okay, that Pluto Sagittarius generation, Pluto deals with sex, but so does Sagittarius is a very sexual sign. So, Sagittarius, it's like that Sagittarian energy is buck wild. Okay, so when you put Pluto in Sagittarius, I mean, I can see I see that correlation. I don't date. Venus sextile Neptune. Could you attract men outside of your? That's not really a manifestation of that Venus sextile Neptune. If you were to say Venus sextiling Jupiter, sure. Venus sextiling Neptune could deal with where you could attract partners. Shit, maybe you could even financially, it could deal with where you could get financial support from partners, or where you could attract people who spoil you, partners who spoil you, that type of thing, or very romantic type. A whole lot of betas, not enough alphas, and that's on what? Period. The Sag in you really jumps out. But even the men who come from two family households, they have problems too, because they desire that relationship like their parents, but don't want to put in the work that their parents did. I mean, yes, two-parent household, people who were raised in two-parent households, that doesn't necessarily exclude you from being a fucking nutcase. It doesn't. So I acknowledge that. I kind of like the betas. The alphas are doers, but the betas are thinkers. I like that. I mean, I can see that too. I have a love-hate relationship with alpha men. Just because I'm an alpha woman. So a lot of times and as a younger woman, I put myself in situations where I would just get beat the fuck up because I would be trying niggas in their manhood, quote unquote. But okay. But I can understand that mode of thought. So I get you. Have y'all ever been with a man that hated his mom? Ooh, run away. I've been with a dude with mommy issues. That's horrible. Horrible. Because if he hate the pussy he came out of, he don't give a fuck about nothing, nobody. No. You don't give a fuck about the bitch who gave you life. You would never care about me. Ever. Nah, that's a deal breaker. I could never. Nobody wants a mama's boy per se, but nobody wants you. You should never get with a nigga with unresolved mommy trauma. I mean, look at these, and you know what? A lot of Cancer men are like that. Men with very prominent Cancer placements. I find Sun, Moon, and Cancer, Mars men. If and all it takes is one fucked up aspect, right? If their whatever planet is in Cancer, if like their personal planets are afflicted, they will manifest. They will be that personified, like mommy issues, women issues. Like, for example, look at Kevin Hart. Okay, for example, look at 50 Cent. It's just it's scary. I could never. I was wondering what I need to banish unbalanced male energy. I don't date certain men, create a list, and bypass the devilish penis that lurks in the shadow. Not the devilish penis. Da-da. Mars at the 11th degree of Cancer, that can be challenging in terms of your relationship with men, but that could also even deal with you attracting men who are emotionally immature or who could have it. I mean, I know a lot of women with that Mars and Cancer placement, and they attract very abusive men, to be honest with you. And that 11th degree, like that number 11, deals with conflict. It deals with struggle. It deals with challenge. You know, those are niggas who probably take everything personally. It's so easy to hurt their feelings. They probably the type of niggas that always bring up shit from the past. Like, damn, you can't let that shit go, nigga. Damn. Let me live. Ooh, ooh. Venus forming a quincunx to Jupiter. Venus in quincunx to Jupiter. Like they want a little bit too much leeway in their relationships. But I've also seen this manifest in situations where like distance could be an issue in a relationship, where it could be a long distance relationship that there could be some difficulties with that. These could also be people who could attract. I'm trying to see how else could it play out, because that quincunx is not as harsh as like a square or an opposition at all. It just really speaks to where, you know, there could be some mild issues that have to be like rectified within the relationship. I'm trying to see. It could kind of deal with where a person tends to like overstep their bounds, like, or maybe not overstep their bounds, but where these people can be like overly eager to be in a situation and then fuck around and then not turn out the way that you want it to. Yeah, like a DJ. Better orgasms, also spiritual cleanse or cleanse. I have Mars and Taurus at the 27th degree, conjunct my sun in the third house. Girl, you should be draining these niggas for their money. That's what you should be doing. Taurus Mars conjunct your sun, there's no reason why you should not be getting that bread. These niggas need to be handing over that paper. Or get you a nigga who'll buy you a car. Shit, with that third house. Third house deals with cars. What type of men do I attract? Cancer Mars, 14th degree. Like I said, I mean, you know, that Cancer Mars is very challenging in terms of attracting men who are balanced, emotionally balanced. But that 14 degree, I mean, that 14 breaks down to 5. And that could deal with where I mean, you would probably be the more flexible person in the situation. Or it could deal with where you could I don't know, because I mean it could really play out in terms of where maybe you could attract men who are a little bit more vocal with their feelings than like your stereotypical Cancer Mars, who are a little bit better at expressing their feelings or communicating their feelings than, you know, the others. Mm-hmm. Yes, guys, make sure you hit that like button. Venus in Aries and Saturn. So your Venus is conjunct your Saturn in Aries. That can create a lot of difficulty in terms of having long-term harmonious relationships, both with men and women. So, I mean, you know, from a platonic standpoint, these are women who have a difficult time getting along with other women. But when it comes to men, I mean, you could attract abusive relationships as well, or relationships where, you know, maybe you attract men who are very selfish, you know, very pig-headed and egotistical. You know, it could also deal with where you have a lot of, there could be some control issues within the relationship too. Lots of power struggles. Hell no, not for me. I can't bring myself to be soft for niggas for having a troubled past. Get that worked out in therapy, huh? Period. Period. So you sad. Oh, so you got a fucked up life. Join the club. Welcome to the club, bitch. Go sign up for therapy, ho. Like the rest of it. I'm with you on that. Listen. You can't let up on these niggas. You gotta hold them accountable. And as women, it's not your job to be their therapist. Make these niggas go sit on somebody's big red comfy couch. Well, actually, they need to make themselves. So it's like, holler at me once you've evolved and healed. That explains everything. Thank you. Man, what kind of men do I attract with the Leo Mars at the 20th degree? Men, first, I see this in the charts of a lot of women who attract like men who are ladies' men. So they could be players from the Himalayas, especially with the number 20 breaking down to two deals with women. But they could also be like big babies, very childish men. Maybe you attract younger men. I don't know if you get hit on by dudes who are younger than you. Or if they're not younger than you, maybe they just act like children. Maybe they just literally act like big babies. I also get that you could attract men who really want families of their own, especially, like I said, with that number 2 energy there. Maybe they always really wanted kids. Mars Leo women could also attract men who have a lot of money as well. But these are men who could be like in really big positions of power, like bosses. I'm a boss. What type of readings do you do? I'm new. I do a lot of different types. So I specialize in natal chart readings. But I also do synastry readings as well as transit readings. I got what you want. I got what you need, sugar. Just let me know what you're interested in. And if you are interested in the reading, you can contact me at astrowerld. That's astro, WERLD, at gmail.com. Libra Mars women do attract like ladies men too, or men who could be ladies men, like, you know, men who kind of like think they know women so well, players from the Himalayas. They could be real smooth, you know, the smooth operator type of dudes. But also, especially with that number 22 or at the 22nd degree, it could be a ploy to gain control over situations or over people, right? Trying to be the super romantic. That could be the poetic type. Baby girl, I wrote you a poem. Oh, hey, tell me your thoughts. How you feeling, right? They could be those type. Very diplomatic, very kind of charming and sophisticated. Like, oh, yes, like he, But with that 22nd degree, there's always, it can be phony as hell. There's always this kind of like where they setting up the stage to like do some fuck shit. Like they always got their own agenda behind it. Or men who are always indecisive about what they want. Men who may not exactly know what they want from a woman. Men you attract with Mars and Capricorn, Venus and Pisces. Well, that Capricorn Mars can deal with where you attract men who, number one, could be older than you, men that you could meet at work, Lord, meet in the workplace. Men who maybe you could gain some type of experience from. But like I was also mentioning a little bit earlier, you know, these could be men who may not be the most loving. I know there's a lot of Capricorn Mars women. If you have two types, so you have the type to be like really concerned, like to be married to their career. A really good example of that Capricorn Mars type is Nicki Minaj, right? But then you also have another type of Capricorn Mars woman who is attracted to men who can do things for her. And it's kind of similar to Leo Mars women in a certain respect, because, you know, these women can be kind of opportunistic in the way that they choose men, or they can attract men who are kind of opportunistic or who like the optics of things, right? So, you know, these are women who can attract a man with a position of power or authority. I notice a lot of Capricorn Mars women attract men who could even be in the military, police officers, shit like that. But the relationship is not really. A lot of times there's a lot of labor involved in the relationship. So sometimes these relationships can have a lot of history to them. Maybe this is a person that you knew in the past and y'all have known each other for a long time, but the relationship can be very restrictive. They can also be very controlling, you know, on a more negative spectrum of it. Ooh, 11-11, y'all. Have y'all ever had a dude write y'all a poem before? Brenjanae, you can attract men who are obsessed with you, especially with that Scorpio Mars in the first house. There could be a very strong sexual attraction. So you might attract a lot of men who have a very primal attraction to you, like where you're always receiving sexual energy from men, but also men who literally can be obsessed with you. That's a placement that can almost guarantee like a stalker or some shit, like a man who has a difficult time, like, baby, hop off. You got a poem back in the third grade. Can you make a video on Patreon that goes over degrees? Yes, actually, I will. I use the Chaldean. I think that's how you say it, the Chaldean system. Yeah, and I definitely will. Thank you for that suggestion. You attract obsessive men too. That could also be another manifestation of your sun conjunct Mars too, though. I think you said your sun was conjunct your Mars. I got Mars and Scorpio in the 10th conjunct Pluto in your South Node. Boys that were trying to get these cookies. Girl. They might fuck around and take them cookies with that damn that's not funny. But not for real. Be careful, because that's a loaded ass Scorpio South Node. You might attract them type of niggas like, yeah, you either gonna give it to me or I'm gonna take that shit. I'm a Libra Sun, Gemini Moon, Leo Rising. What type of men should I go towards? What's your Mars placement? Child, I'm gonna spell it, huh? Chaldean. Sun conjunct Pluto, that could be tough too. That's absolutely a quintessential aspect of attracting a more obsessive type of dude. But also it could create a lot of codependency within relationships, or having a very codependent relationship with men. Men who are like, of course, overpowering. Power struggles and those things are always going to be a prevalent theme when it comes to Sun conjunct Pluto individuals. Almost always. And issues with infidelity. Almost always. Milk and cookies. Lilith aspects are not okay. I'm glad you asked me that. Lilith aspects are not important. Not really. I only really observe, and every astrologer does things differently. But for me, okay, over here on the HoodAstroQ, I don't give two fucks about your Black Moon Lilith sign, and that's because I only really observe those in very specific cases. Like if I'm doing like a case study on a serial killer / like a rapist or some shit, because it really speaks about or speaks towards your suppressed sexual desires, parts of your personality, specifically sexuality that you tend to kind of either project or try to kind of contain, right? That you have a difficult time integrating with your consciousness. So, I mean, and in some cases, it can also speak towards like abortions and stuff like that. But for the most part, it really has no significant bearings on your day-to-day life. Like it doesn't really play out the way people think it does. Not for real. No, not even in synastry. Black Moon Lilith is really not that important. I mean, it could factor, but when I'm doing synastry, like I really don't consider Black Moon Lilith. There are so many, and whatever could be pointed out in like, or whatever could be suggested by like a person, or however your Black Moon Lilith is aspecting your partner's chart, I'm pretty sure we can figure that out based on your, regular aspects, between y'all personal planets. So it's like I don't really have to use the Black Moon Lilith to tell me that this is like a fucked up relationship, because your Pluto is opposing his sun and his goddamn his Mars is squaring your moon. I really didn't need to look at Black Moon Lilith for that. Yeah, y'all can just go ahead and end it now. Mars squaring the North Node. How do you interpret that? What sign, Jessica? You're right about that Cancer placement in men's chart. I dated a guy with the Cancer South Node. He always at odds with his mom. Didn't want to forgive her, and my son. You're a Cancer sun too. Woo, child. Yes. Those South Node relationships be the fucking worst. Like romantically, no. I always fuck it up. I don't know why I gotta roll my tongue when I say eros. It is I mean, I've used it before, but once again, it's usually in very specific instances. It's not one of the basic asteroids, which is like what Black Moon Lilith, Palos, Vesta, and Juno. Those are like the 4 basic asteroids, especially depending on what system that you're using, like what program that you're using. Those are like the 4 basic asteroids. When you start talking about eros, I mean, I use it, of course, because it can talk about a person's sexual desires as well. But once again, it has to be very specific. Like I have to have a very specific reason for looking that up. I have Mars in Aquarius in the 11th. Do I like group sex? I mean, that Aquarius Mars is another one of those placements that could bring about, like, these people, it could be 2 continuum. So like on one end of the extreme, these are people who can go very long periods of time without sex. They can be asexual. You know, they could be people who, especially depending on what else is going on in your chart, are just not, maybe they late bloomers. Maybe they're people who just not naturally, I don't have to have sex. I'm not a very sexually driven person, but on the other end, these can be some very experimental people when it comes to sex. So, I mean, yeah, it can deal with group sex in some cases, but I've also seen this deal with a person who can be, bisexual, trisexual. I'm gonna be real. In a woman's chart, I either take that as maybe you got some queer tendencies, or you could definitely attract men who do as well. Like a lot of times women with that Aquarius Mars project that, and they attract gay men. So these are women who can be dating gay men and probably don't even know it, or who maybe got a lot of gay friends. Another really good example of this is Tamar Braxton. She's an Aquarius Mars, and all she hang around is queens. And I think she done crunched and munched on some coon herself. What would you say are the top 3 most intelligent zodiac signs? Top 3 most intelligent. Of course, I mean, we could not have this conversation without bringing up Virgo, right? For obvious reasons, being governed by Mercury, but they're more so the thinkers. Or actually, I guess you could call them more so the doers, and Geminis are the thinkers. But either way, they are very intelligent, and they're very concise people, and a lot of these people are self-taught. So I've never met a stupid Virgo. Never. I would also say intelligence. I mean, then I guess you can do Gemini second, but it's a different type of intelligence. But then the third, I would say Aquarius. Actually, you know what? I would say it's actually really a tie. I'd say Aquarius, because Aquarius does deal with like these are your more like science leaning individuals. So these are people who could excel when it comes to math and numbers. And I don't know if like you guys have experienced, or if you ever heard of situations where there's like an autistic person, but like they have some incredible ass talent, or they know how to do some like crazy ass shit. Like that's very Aquarius. So it's intelligence, but they like on paper, but they often lack common sense. But then on the other hand, Scorpios are really good at research and investigation. But then I can't forget Sagittarius, because I mean Sagittarius is literally, I mean it's more so wisdom as opposed to just, you know, lower level intelligence, but they can be very, I mean, you know, very smart people too in their own right. And I mean that's way more than 3, but you know, that's just, those are just like the main signs that are kind of running through my head off rip. Libras can be very intelligent too, though. I mean, even when you're talking about air signs tend to be very intelligent, or their advantage is because, you know, they're very expressive, and these are people who are more apt to actively go seek things for themselves, right? Be it sharing things with others, verbally, you know, reading shit, writing shit, actively immersing themselves in information. Gemini, and that's the gag rip trigger. Gemini may very well be smarter than Virgo, but you'll have a hard time actually seeing that, because Gemini don't ever get shit done. Gemini is very you know, when you're comparing that Gemini energy next to the Virgo, a Gemini person is a person who will, let's say, start talk, like, let's say these are people who know a little bit about a lot. So they'll have very surface level knowledge about a whole bunch of shit. So, you know, on one hand, these are people who can engage you in a conversation and they got something to say about almost everything. Or they'll learn a little bit about something and now they want to show and impress everybody with what they know. And that's cool. But when you're talking about Virgos, these are people who are a lot more focused in the way that they go about acquiring that information. They do a lot more with it because they are a lot more focused and concise. So I'm trying to remember, it was an analogy that I read somewhere, and they were like, you know, the Gemini person has all of these ideas, but your Virgo actually like writes a book on it, like writes it down, you know, creates a dissertation and studies it and takes it to the next level. You know, they're the doers, or the Gemini are the thinkers. So, you know, and Virgos are a lot better when it comes to like teaching and showing people how to do A, B, C, and D, and conveying things in a way that makes sense. Geminis can be very hard to follow. That was my point, you know. Well, that it didn't come from the Virgo energy. What's your name? Joan Dadley Chavez. If you know a stupid Virgo, they gotta have something else going on, because it's definitely not the Virgo energy. Or they could have an affliction to whatever planet is in Virgo, because that is not the Virgoian way. Beyonce is a stupid Virgo once again. Beyonce got a lot of other shit going on. Her stupidness is not a result of that Virgo energy. It's not. You got to go see what that Mercury doing. You need to go see how her sun is being afflicted. And then we can come back and talk. Libras do play stupid. But it's a ploy. Leos. Libras know how to be what they feel like you want them to be, or whatever the situation requires for them to be in that moment. Pisces, I think Pisces are more so creative than they are intelligent. Pisces individuals are more so abstract thinkers. So these are people who can be immensely talented and creative when it comes to things like things that require you to engage your right brain as opposed to your left brain. So even when we're talking about intelligence and we have to define what you mean by intelligent, I'm speaking more so from the left brain approach. And the more left brain type of signs are going to be your air signs. And I would even say some earth signs as well. I don't know if Leos are smart as fuck. I don't know about that, fam. Y'all are brave as fuck. Well, I don't know if you're a Leo, but Leos are brave as fuck. Would I say smart? In like the, once again, left brain sense of the word? I don't know. Aries is another one. Aries, I don't know if I would categorize them as intelligent. Aries is a perfect example of, when somebody says like, oh, what does it say? Talent or no talent beats talent when talent doesn't work hard or something like that. Like Aries are the doers. They will get shit done. And more so than Virgos, Aries are all about starting, initiating projects. They're great leaders. They also, much like Leo, can do really well in positions of authority and things like that, right? Where they're delegating responsibilities and duties and, being examples. They're also very competitive. So in a way, like, I guess that Aries probably, because they tend to have like that win-lose mentality in a similar fashion to Leo. I don't necessarily think it comes from a place of just being intelligent, but like if you have like an Aries student or somebody who got Aries in the third house, or their Mercury is in Aries, these are people who may go out of their way to try to learn more and do more, and so that they can have that competitive edge, because it's like, nah, this bitch ain't finna outsmart me. Let me go ahead and pick up this encyclopedia real quick. Let me go ahead. I see that in the charts of like a lot of people, like Mercury and Aries and stuff, and in the charts of people who could have like participated in spelling competitions and stuff, like spelling bees and shit. So like that. But I don't know if I would just naturally be like, oh, Aries is intelligent. Yeah, Virgos are masters. It's the perfectionism thing. Virgos say a whole bunch of nothing to me. They can be bullshitters, especially the dark-sided ones. Like the one person that comes to mind is Joe Budden. Why are Pisces alcoholics? A lot of Pisces can have issues, and Virgos can too, because Pisces and Virgos, they're opposing signs, but they do share a lot of core similarities, and a lot of it deals with the need for escapism. A lot of them have a difficult time accepting reality the way it is, or even managing stress. So there's a need to turn to, and not even always just alcohol. It could be anything. But they're way more prone, excuse me, towards succumbing to addictions and stuff like that. So Aries goes head first, but they never execute. Aries will get the ball rolling, but they could burn out. Like many fires, well, Sagittarius is like that too. And I'm guilty. I'm so guilty. I don't know if y'all ever noticed, but I'll start a series or something, And then I'll never get past like the first or second installment. Like, it's this thing where there are so many ideas and so many, things that these people can get excited about, and they'll start it. But then next time you look up, they doing something else. It's like, whoa, bitch. Whoa. What? I thought we were, what's going on here? So I'm tired, y'all. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it on in for the night. I enjoyed you guys as always, per usual. And I will holler at y'all sometime in the near future. So y'all have a great week. Eat your vegetables. Keep your coochie clean. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.